Oh, stop it. I'm going to get in trouble. I can't play that. No copyright. No copyright. R8RBEAR! Woo! Let's go! Assaltante Oso, that bear you all know. Out of hibernation to entertain Raider Nation. What? You heard me. I bluffed you on that one. Rocking the sky blue, little bears in the blueberry, and I got Deadpool bear in the wine. Oh, it's so pretty. Got the perp on deck. I'm just saying. Hey, look, if you want to be in a bad mood about this, fine, go ahead and be that. But I choose not to be, and I'll explain why. Or maybe I won't. Woo! Often imitated, but duplicated. That fool with no hair, that shouts like Ric Flair. Woo! What? Woo! Woo! The Raider Bear! I'm Raiders! No, I'm not going to do it again. You got to pay for the second one. You get one freebie. So what's up, fam? Welcome to the show. Always there for Raider Bear, my family, my muchachos. What's happening tonight? But first, Tradish! Raider Bear Live's first comment. Woo! MVP tonight goes to... Oh, what is going on here? John the Lion Leon, always dropping L's but never taking losses. Our guy John the Lion Leon. Oh, you saw I laid it on thick for you, John, because I'm starting to see you getting a little sassy up here at the gold medals, and I like it. Mark Vargas needs a push, okay? He's a fat, happy, two-belt wearing champion, and it's ridiculous. Speak of the devil, Mark, that 5 emoji making son of a gun, Vargas. You know, Mark, you may have to give up on the 2 supermodels, one on either arm, laying on the beach, getting a little bit fat from all those Mai Tais. You might have to step away from the beach a little bit and get back on your training, because John the Lion Leon real quietly trying to run up your back. Oh, it's true. Third place, my bronze medal goes to Rodney Fuller. Rodney, what are you doing up here winning one of my medals? What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for Raider Bear. Honorable mention to Herf S.A. Big Dog. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. And let me move forward. And you know what, Rodney Fuller, I'm going to take your question first. So I'm just going to put it right there so I don't lose it. And I'm going to go on to my Facebook peoples, because they're how I got here. And stuff just keeps rolling on like it rolls on. Carlos! Boykins! You're reigning, defending champion of the world, Mr. Boykins. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for Raider Bear. And then, that other guy that has the silver medal, the one that I used to say it was a rivalry, but I stopped saying that because, he just don't get you enough. He's second place, my silver medal goes to that sultry sounded son of a gun, LP Lucky Pace. It took Lucky Pace like 2 years for me to stop saying Luck I Pace. It's a long story. Third place, my bronze medal goes to my new head of security, Handsome Joe Holman. Joe, sup? Listen, Joe, I'm trying to make some phone calls. I might have you do a little moonlighting as a linebacker for us. Maybe defensive end. We need help. We need lots of help. All right, let's see. Who do you want to see at quarterback after the bye? Personally, I'd like to see AOC if he's truly 100%. Okay, Rodney, welcome to the show. You always ask me great questions. Great question. I would say this to you. At this point, I don't care. I don't want it to be Geno Smith, but if it's Geno Smith, I don't care. Now, let me explain. We went into the season with him as the starter, and Pete Carroll, for obvious reasons, is old school. And he will, it's like a captain on a ship that gives you direction. Excuse me, I got the hiccups all of a sudden. That gives you directions to get to gold. And then because you haven't quite got there yet, everyone on the ship wants to call mutiny and ask the captain to deviate from his course. Now, if the captain agrees to that, you immediately lose confidence in him because he said, this is the way you go and we'll win. And that's what Pete Carroll said. Come with me. We're going to go this way. And if you come with me, we're going to win. Now, before I go into any more of what you said there, Rodney, I want to go into what I think is the most obvious part of our problem that we're not talking about yet. Right now, we're talking about Geno Smith, and we're talking about whether or not Ashton Jeanty is going to be consistent. And are we ever going to get anything from Malcolm Kuntz? The answer is no. There's no mystery to that. We just keep acting like there is. No mystery there. He's a bum. Put foots in him, Tyree Wilson. Bum! Okay, and I'm sick and tired of people saying, oh, he's starting to come around. You don't want a first-round pick that's just starting to come around. No. What I'm getting from Tyree Wilson, I could get from a third-string UDFA. A stop here and there. A sack every 4 to 6 weeks. It's not very good. It's just not very good. We got to get better in too many places. Now, here's the problem. Pete Carroll came on for a win right now fix. And then hey, maybe you should give me an extension in year 2 since this is my last year of my contract because he only has a 2-year deal. So he was supposed to win now, then renegotiate for more later. He ain't winning now. And he's obviously not going to win right now because, it's not about whether you're a loyal Raider fan or not. It's not about whether you're a loyal Raider female fan or male fan or young fan or whatever, okay? At this point, unless we can create some serious momentum, we're in trouble. We're probably going to have a bad season. Now, is it fixable? I'm being honest when I look right into the camera and I say, yes, it is. It really is. We've run into a problem, and the problem's big. And I started talking to you about it a little bit, about the locker room and the fact that Pete Carroll had lost some of the players, and it was starting to sound like it was more than a handful. When you lose Max, you lose the locker room. Now, we have to be careful because anything that's said on the internet anymore, you can't really trust. And I'm just being honest with you guys about that. I'm a reporter, so that hurts me because now I have to dig more and more to try to find where I can find truth in things. And the truth I'm finding is that some of what's being reported about Max Crosby's anger is real. Now, did he say, I'll never play for the Raiders again if Geno Smith is under center? I don't know that yet. I'm trying to confirm that. I'm letting you know that's being reported, but I'm not ready to confirm that. Unlike a lot of these other guys, I won't just go, yeah, look, that's news. You know what I mean? You're going to get a lot of that from these other guys, but I'm trying to wait because I would be willing to bet you by Sunday, some reporter will get in front of Max and he'll say he didn't say that. You know, and if he says that, I'm going to believe him. You know, I'm more apt to believe the guy and his face when I see it being talked to and answering a question than I am to other people saying, oh, well, we heard he said this, or we heard that this player said he said this. If I'm looking at Max in the face and he says, no, I never said that. And when Geno's back, if they put him in and I'm healthy and I'm playing, I'll play. I expect him to say that. I really do. Now, again, does that mean necessarily that players never lie? Of course not. I just don't think that Max is that type of guy. He's only ever known being pampered. As soon as he got to us, he was a great player. We all knew it. The franchise knew it. And they basically started looking at him and saying, you're the franchise. And basically letting him know that they're going to re-up his contract right away. And it's going to be a great deal, Mr. Crosby, and blah, blah. He was feeling all that. So he's never felt like anything but Mr. Raider. Okay. His voice carries weight there. Now, there have been times where he's gotten off a little bit off his skis and said some crazy things and said, yeah, we should do this. Yeah, we should do that. And then it didn't happen and he just went silent. And that's fine. But as far as saying things like, I don't think I'll ever play unless Geno's not playing, I don't think that's true. Jason Scott Brown. Appreciate the love on the stars, brother. And remember, guys, stars contributed to the show. Go to charities that we work with all over the world. I haven't been mentioning it quite as much because we're kind of in transition with moving on with some charities and moving on to others. But check that out. Also, consider a subscription to Raider Bear Family page. You can look for us on Patreon as Raider Bear Family. Where also you can subscribe through Facebook. And, of course, with YouTube, if you would, please like and subscribe. And it helps me with the algorithm so more Raider fans get that real news. Appreciate the love. Bear, it's time to admit your guy, Pete Carroll, sucks. Why can't we get it right as a franchise? Well, okay, Carlos, there's certain things. Like, for example, if Carlos, whatever you do for a living, if I hire you to do that job for me, you shake my hand, I give you a big contract, and you're happy, okay? Here's the problem. You need an assistant that's going to help you get stuff done, and I decide I'm going to pick that assistant. And then you decide you need someone to help you deal with personnel at your job, and I tell you, no, I'll find you someone to handle that. I know a guy. That's basically what's happening to Pete Carroll. And because of his circumstances, he has no leverage. He's as older, obviously, than he's ever been when he came to us. There weren't too many other teams looking to bring on a guy that old. So his list of job opportunities was small because there weren't too many jobs and smaller because of his age. So the Raiders took him on. I had no problem with that. Carlos, you saying that he's my guy is fine. I'll own that. I do like Pete Carroll. I did feel like he could do it for us. But part of me, without making excuses, feels like if you buy all the groceries, how can you expect me to make it delicious? I didn't even get to tell you what I want to cook. I didn't even tell you what I'm good at cooking, and you just bring me all this stuff from the store. That's kind of what's happening here, because Spytech was not Pete Carroll's GM choice. He was Tom Brady's GM choice. I don't know how many shows you've watched where you've heard people tell you this, but you might be getting some news from me in that way, only that Tom Brady holds so much respect with Mark Davis that if then Pete Carroll goes over Tom Brady and says, Mark Davis, I need to choose my own GM, Mark Davis is going to say, talk to Tom Brady. And then, that basically meant no. The answer is no. Go talk to the very guy who you're having a problem with because he's picking your GM for you. You know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. I even understood the choice of Spytek at first because he had worked with Spytek. He'd won a Super Bowl. He'd worked one-on-one with him. Now, I also did say, though, when we hired him that obviously was a Tom Brady hire. And I was concerned because obviously if he's a Tom Brady hire, then Spytek's not going to feel beholden to his job to Pete Carroll, who he should, but he didn't. Because he knew Pete Carroll wasn't his boss. Tom Brady, not even Mark is. Tom Brady is. Because see, if he had gone over Tom Brady, Mark's not going to fire Spytek because that's Tom Brady's guy. So even if he may have questions about Spytek, he's going to go to Tom Brady, not just immediately fire the guy. And if Tom goes, no, stay with him, we're fine, Mark's going to listen. This is the nightmare we're in. So that's why our franchise can't get it right, because each and every time they try to do some sort of reset, things get in the way. And if you look back, the only reset that even had a little bit of success was John Gruden's. I'll admit that. Most of you who know me know I can't stand John Gruden. I cannot stand him. And when people even started to rumor about bringing him back, I said, stop it. You make us look so desperate that we would be willing to beg that guy and ignore all his character flaws, major, massive character flaws that we all see in the bright of day, but we're still willing to go, come on back, to a coach who really didn't win with us. Think, what did he win? Nothing. I mean, he made us cohesive. He put a winning team out there a couple times, but he still never got it done. I don't give a damn if I don't give a damn if he gets to within one game of the Super Bowl or gets to the Super Bowl and loses. It doesn't matter if you're second or dead last. If you don't win the ring, you won nothing. You guys want to brag about division championships? Does any team really do that? Oh, look, we're the 5-time division champs. If you didn't finish those 5-time division champ runs with rings, you're embarrassed by that because you were showing you're one of the best and you couldn't get it done. Now, I'm not saying I like losing. I'm just simply saying I don't care if we had a team that did that or does what we do right now. I want to win. Win. Then rings. Anything other than that, if we win 15 games and we don't win a ring, I don't care. I'm not going to go, wow, what a season. We didn't win. You know, that's just me. So it just doesn't bother me like it bothers other people. And I try to get other Raider fans to think that way. Stop getting so caught up in the losing. How do you think Jet fans feel? I mean, think about that. And the Buccaneers before Tom and this little short smurf they have now, whatever his name is, before they had Baker Mayfield, they won nothing. They were the losingest franchise around. Look at the Falcons. They've got their young quarterback. They can't get out of their own way. The Giants are all excited about Dart and some kid named Scattaboo, whose name now is starting to bug the out of me. Oh, look, everyone, it's trash. I mean, Niner Beto. Always there to be a jerk. Happy birthday, Shane Street. Much love to you, brother. That's my guy right there. Bob, I wrote a joke on it. I hated it. Good luck, Mark. John's coming. Christopher Anderson, Spytek's being cheap in free agency really didn't help this team. The must draft a franchise quarterback. I think that maybe there's a good opportunity to talk about this from a detective standpoint, Christopher. Doesn't it seem odd, Chris, that Pete Carroll has had this kind of success? He hasn't really had a long, bad run like this in a long time, and yet he has one now. It feels like Tom Brady, I don't think, wanted him. I don't think Tom Brady wanted Pete Carroll. So maybe he hits the brakes quietly behind closed doors on Spytek and says, let this guy lose. Doesn't matter. we'll build a winner after he's out of here. We're going to get us a young college coach that'll do what we say, and then we'll build this whole culture. And I think that Pete Carroll, for whatever reason, because of circumstances, because we were trying to get the young hot coaches, but most of them were turning us down. So when that happened and we had to go ahead and sit down on a pick, there you had it. Jason Scott Brown, good to see you, man. Aw. Hi, Catherine. Good to see you, Peggy. Carlos Boykins agrees. The offensive line coach sucks. Mark, but we had a struggling offensive line before he got here. So whether or not now he's struggling with it or not, it's hard to determine. Is that because he's a poor coach or because he's doing less with what we have than maybe the previous coach was able to do more with? You know, goes back to that stuff in the kitchen again. Oh, look, it's Gil Moody, #1 Chiefs fan. Here to put foots in us like he did out there in Kansas City. Shut up, Gil Moody. I mean, you really haven't said anything yet, but shut up anyway. And you too, Beto. Shut up. That's all I got. That's all I got right now. Hey, I'm 6'3" and about 240. I'm not quite as hard as I used to be, but I could go in for a series or two before I fall over dead. Joe, I know you can. I need to put you on the goal line stand. That's what I'm saving you for. No, Gil, I know why you're here. Do you really think you have to tell me? Kenny Blair, all the way from the land of whiskey and crumpets, my good friend Kenny Blair. That's right. He sends me coin from across an ocean. That is real viewership right there. Steven and Mrs. Shaw. Oh, okay, here we go. I don't think Max said that either, but there is only so many losses he can take before he might be saying something like that. Hopefully we turn it around before we get there. You know, honestly, Rodney Fuller, okay, I have, this isn't saying that big a deal. A lot of people have met this person I'm about to mention, so I'm just saying that ahead of time so I don't seem like I'm trying to sound like I'm cool or something. Okay, but I know Max Crosby's mama, okay? I've hung out with her more than one occasion, drank with her, hung out with her, talked and laughed with her and her husband, and they're amazing, fantastic people. Max is already married, extremely rich, and now is a father of an incredibly beautiful daughter, blonde-haired daughter. So I just don't know if I would agree with some of the Raider fans, not necessarily you, but some of the Raider fans that say he's going to get frustrated and eventually he's going to walk. I don't know. I just don't know if I believe that. If for no other reason, can you help me out with that?
Yeah. I heard you say that Gil was watching.
Oh, good. You heard that and decided to come on the air and say hello to our #1 trolling Chiefs fan. Niner Beto's trolling us too.
Hi,
they just couldn't wait to see their friend the Bear after his team got smashed 30-0.
Yeah, that was embarrassing.
Shut up, woman. It's not true. It was not embarrassing. It just sucked a lot. Like being held down by a bully while he spit in your face and punched you at the same time. Like a hip-puh, hip-puh-puh, hip-puh, hip-puh.
At least our Warriors smashed.
There you go. Warriors! That's right. That's right. We got those bum Lakers. For all you Laker Dodgers fans, eat that. All right. So now you want me to say something hopeful. I don't really have something super hopeful right now, Rodney, other than that I do not think that Max Crosby would leave the Raiders. I just don't. I don't think that. When a guy commits that hard, puts tattoos all over his body, I don't see it. Now, it could happen. It very well could happen, and I wouldn't be mad at him. It's just business, man. He's got a family and everything. You know what I'm saying? I have a Raider tattoo. Okay, so my attitude is I have a family to feed, but I'm already doing that. He's got $100 million something or dollar gajillion contract, And you know we're going to give him another one. He's still in his prime. So he's going to get a minimum of one more huge deal, and then he'll probably get maybe one more huge deal, or he'll get one more huge deal and a huge extension that goes into how long he wants to keep playing. But all this stuff about him going to the Lions and the Niners are sniffing around trying to get him, that's not going to happen. Old man Pete has to build up the Raiders by getting more picks and more good players. Well, Troy, there's a problem with that. See, technically, he only has a 2-year deal. So thank you, honey. So he only had this year and next year to go out there and prove that he still had it in the tank and that he could be successful with the Raiders. But I think once he really got hired, I just feel like Tom Brady, he doesn't want that guy. I don't even think he wants him to succeed, because then if he does, then Tom can't keep putting his impression on the team. And we all know he's doing that. I mean, we all know he's doing that. Even if he keeps saying he's not doing that, he's doing that. Why do you think we went out and got dominant tight ends, 2 tight end set attack in the offense? Who made that famous for over a decade? The minority owner upstairs, Kendall, then tried to bring in and promote Cam Miller because he's a prototype Tom Brady build and mobility type of quarterback. Stays in the pocket, big arm, tall. Time for Brendan Carroll to get his out of the club and Chip Kelly to get his kicked out for the trash. Offensive scheme calling. Kenny, I don't know why Pete couldn't just install something like what he was running in Seattle with Geno. So Geno will still be on the same page with him, understand what they're running, and then try to install it in this next 2 weeks. Because what else have you got to lose? I mean, what you're doing is not working. It doesn't matter whatever excuses you want to make or explanations, they still amount to 1 win. 1. Okay, so we have to get cracking coming out of this bye. If we don't come out of the bye with at least 2 wins, like right off the gut. I don't even care. I don't even know who we're playing. I forget the schedule. And I'm saying right now, I don't have it memorized, but I probably have it here. But regardless of it, whoever we're playing, you have got to get the those first couple wins coming out of the break. You've got to feel confident with what you've installed and move on with that. Okay, now just in the last few days, we signed Shedrick Jackson to the practice squad, or from the practice squad, excuse me. We gave a look to him, ran him through some drills, and then we ended up sending him right back to the practice squad. We signed guard McClendon Curtis to the practice squad. Journeyman could help us. Will definitely give us depth because he has experience. And we also released punter Brad Robbins from the practice squad. Now, most recent turnaround, we signed guard Layden Robinson. I liked seeing that we're looking for guards because guards can switch in and out usually with tackles if we need them to. Wide receiver DJ Turner, I was glad to see that. We signed them back to the practice squad. Then we released McClendon Curtis, the guard, and safety JT Woods from the practice squad. I was bummed to see that. I actually liked safety JT Woods, but obviously being on the practice squad, he probably wasn't going to impact the defense anytime soon, so I understand that move. Bear, it's been years. What's going on? Good to see you. Jeremy Vargas. What's up, man? Good to see you. I'm loving that hat. Ramon Shukla, what's up, brother? Welcome. Shukla or Shukla? I'm not sure. I said it both ways. Just I didn't want to disrespect your last name. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Okay, so we are desperate. I agree with that, especially when you went to Kenny Pickett. We know what Kenny Pickett. Did you guys notice that Kenny Pickett wears gloves on both his hands? I mean, the rumors about his hands being too small and he has troubles handling the ball because his hands are too small. I mean, duh. I mean, if that was ever a rumor, it isn't anymore. I mean, he had to wear gloves just to handle the ball, and he still fumbled. He's not good. He's not the answer, and neither is AOC. AOC, in my opinion, has to have a structured line in front of him. And you've already kind of Jason Campbelled him. For those of you who don't remember Jason Campbell, he was a guy that was given 7 offensive schemes in 7 straight years. And it ruined him as a quarterback, even though he had all kinds of potential. He could run. He had a big arm. He was smart. He was tough. But they just kept changing offense, changing coaches, changing offense, changing coaches. And it just, you know what I mean? He said it by the time he got to that 4th or 5th scheme and coordinator, he was just lost with all the jargon and the Y Dragon 38 screen, banana 2, 28 left. It just, he couldn't keep it together. Brady needs to STFU. I'll renew my offer. 5 minutes in a room alone with him, and we don't have to have any more Brady problems. Gruden and Mayock's drafting was ass. Agreed, Kenny Blair. Bear, Gruden didn't even put a team together that was Al Davis and Bruce Allen. Gruden was definitely overrated. See how he panned out the 6 years in Tampa. He sucked. See, Carlos, I agree with all that, but when I tend to say it, I always have at least 100 or so Raider fans that then get pissed at me because they still remember him as a winner. You and I do not. Tremel Henson, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Will Nanoff, my crazy squirrel in the house. What's up, man? Gil. Gil, shut up, Gil. Okay, at least my quarterback almost made it all the way through the game. Your Patrick Mahomes quit right in the middle of it because he was tired of whooping our ass. It's so embarrassing. I'm so ashamed. I'm not even reading Luna. Luna, I'm not even reading you. Beto, shut up, Beto. I'm off of Gil now. Me and Gil have made up. Beto, you shut up. Just saw a quote from Brendan Carroll where he said he feels our line is blocking good enough. Some of it is confusion at the line, though, too, with the call-outs of the blocks, of the protections, and the mic. And some of that's on the center, but some of that's also on Gino and not understanding when he's switching and making audibles. And so there's a chance that some of what Brendan Carroll's saying is true. You know, we lost our best left tackle. Right tackle hasn't panned out the way we thought it would. Gil, I'll make sure that she knows you said hello. I would call her back in here, but I know she took the dogs out back, so she wouldn't hear me right now. I owe my brother some Starbucks who's fighting colon cancer. He's a Chiefs fan. You lost a bet to your brother. That sucks, Corinna. I'm sorry, but God bless him on his cancer, though. Chief fan or not, that's beyond all that. Robert Hansen, I'll let Mama Bear know you said hello. Good to see you, brother. Hi, Trish. The Facebook police won't let me say what should be done with Brady if he sabotaged Coach Pete like that, but you absolutely do not do that to a man with his legacy. Well, and Tim, let's be honest. What does he care about Pete Carroll's legacy? This is about Tom wanting to put his imprint on this team. And most of you who watch my show all the time, like I see Jesse Parker, I see Bob Standard, I know they'll support me on this. When we first brought in Tom Brady, I said, oh, hell. And everyone that watches my show assumed that it was because of my hatred for him deep down in my soul and that I have tried to somehow assassinate Tom Brady just by glaring through the television, holding my breath. It never seemed to work, though, but I kept trying, Nation. You like that face? I won't do that again, but maybe one more. But he wants to take over the Raiders. I see Mark Davis selling to him at some point. So you better just buckle up because we're going to be owned by the guy we hate the most, that we've learned to hate for decades. That guy is going to be telling everything and everyone at our franchise what to do soon. I just believe that, and I'm not gonna come off that till I see different. And as far as I can tell right now, that's exactly where Mark Davis and Tom Brady are going. There's no doubt about it to me. By the way, when Mark Davis started to have his success with the WNBA professional women's basketball team, he convinced Tom Brady to buy into that too. So they're already financial partners on two different franchises. I could see Mark Davis retiring with the WNBA checks coming in and just sell the Raiders to Tom Brady and a conglomerate. Because I know there's some of you that will, wonder if Tom's got that kind of money. He doesn't. But he has enough to get a team together to bank enough money to then buy the team. And by the way, he's in one of those weird marriages, when normally when you get a divorce, you can't stand your opposite. You usually never talk to him again. Like me. Get her out of here. It's like a baseball game. You're out of here. But Tom is going to want to take this whole thing over, and he's not going to want anyone to get in his way. He's just going to do it all. I don't see any doubt about it. Maybe we need Al Pacino to come and give Any Given Sunday speech. Did he even win on that movie? Pete Carroll is a sabotage in our team. Bob, I don't believe that. I think that Tom Brady did it to Pete Carroll. He wanted the coach that was with the Lions that ended up going to the Bears. Whether that would have been the right decision or not doesn't matter. That's what Tom wanted. And when they couldn't get the deal done, he just went, all right, go with Pete. But he don't like Pete. That's why he had Spytek go on the cheap, like Christopher was saying earlier. Shout out to Christopher. Oh, Sherry Abstender comment. I always love those. Too many injuries. Geno is so bad, and Max will be gone next year. No, he won't. He's a general talent and our biggest asset, and the Raiders will decide it's time to trade him for multiple picks. That will ruin us also, and we'll trade him for a bunch of picks that will completely ruin. The Raiders are out of excuses. 45-year plan. Then I'll say this. Till I'm blue, we gave up Derek Carr for Jimmy G, Men's Shoe, and Geno Smith. This is not a smart franchise. 45 years, I have watched them squander talent. It says continue, but I can't actually open the rest of your comment. I'm sorry. I wish I could, because it was great, Sherry. Now, first, Sherry, great hair. First, I just want to say I agree. But the Tom, listen to me. The Derek Carr project had gone on too long. Whether he was the better guy or not wasn't the point anymore. They just didn't want to pay that guy for another run for however long of not winning. You know what I mean? And whether or not Derek was a capable quarterback and a starter and could win games and all that, that's not in dispute. He could, but not enough. He had begun to get a little bit injury prone there toward the end of his career. And it was time for things to move on. And the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo, right when we signed him, wasn't better than Derek Carr. He wasn't better than Derek Carr at any point in his career. Jimmy G is not a good quarterback. He's only been good in one place, and that was with the Niners. Even with the Pats, he had a win here and there, and that's it. He had a run at one point. I think he won 4 straight, and then he was gone. But remember, there was another backup quarterback on that same Patriot team named Matt Castle who had to come in when Jimmy went down, and he won 4 or 5 games in a row. It was the system. It wasn't Jimmy. But when he went to the Niners complained about him constantly. You know what I mean? They didn't like him. They couldn't wait to get him out of town. So he wasn't better than Derek Carr. We all knew that. But that was the circumstances we were in at the time. It's just bad decisions. Jim, that's right. We do play the Jaguars now that you refresh my memory. And to be honest with you, obviously the Jaguars are always a potential win. So we've got to get that. There's just no excuse for it. If you lose to the Jaguars, it just sends another message into our locker room and to our fans that this team's not good enough. Because on any given Sunday, when you face teams that are questionable, the way you prove that you're a quality team is by beating the bad and the questionable teams. And then when you run into the Eagles, a perennial playoff team and Super Bowl champion, then when you run into the Vikings, a winning franchise these last few years, if you run into the Buffalo Bills, a winning franchise for these last few years, then okay, if you lose to those guys, that's a tough game. Those tough teams. But you can't lose to cupcakes, and you can't lose to teams that are trying to show improvement unless you're good. If you want to prove you're good, you've got to beat those teams. A team like the Broncos right now is ahead of us in transition, even though their quarterback, Bo Nix, isn't the answer. He's still a more capable answer than what we have right now in Geno. So technically, the Broncos are even ahead of us in rebuild. Marcus Butler, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. No, you don't get to be funny, Gil. No. Shut up, Beto. He's probably not even here. I'm still going to say it. Let's see. Monkey Bars. What's up, man? Welcome to the show. Hire me as a head coach. I do pretty good in Madden. What's the difference? I don't know if there is a difference, brother. I agree, as accurate as the games are now. Jeff Foster Jr. Hey. What's up? I don't think anything of the Dr. Pepper Pickles post. Oh, God, say that 3 times fast. Shut up, Casey. You're lucky I like her so much, Bob. Brennan took an undrafted long snapper and put him at right guard. Now he's putting the best center out of college at right guard. Just put JPJ at center. There are some, I'm not agreeing with this. I'm just simply saying that there are times when a coach believes you put your best player wherever you have to. Does that make sense? And so, like, going back to basketball, the Golden State Warriors have had trouble with the center position. They've had trouble finding someone that they feel can be a dual setter that can be physical, but can also spread the floor like they like to and shoot the three. So they need a center that can shoot the three. Now, Al Horford we have now is the first time in a long time that we've had a genuine physical center that could shoot the three. We had the kid Post last year. That's his actual last name is Post. And he was a rookie, and he plays center, and he shoots a three, but he's not physical underneath. Now he's back in year 2, and he gained about 15, 20 pounds. So he looks good. We're probably going to get something there. So we'll finally have that. But before we had that, we had to take Draymond Green from power forward and move him to center, even though he was undersized, because he was the best guy talent-wise that we could put at the position. Does that make sense? So I think Brennan just sees JPJ as the guy he can move around to fill holes, as instead of putting him right where I need him and leave these other holes, I'm going to put someone else at center and move you over to the holes. Because I think JPJ can play more positions than Jordan Meredith can. And I think Jordan Meredith played well enough at center that they wanted to see how that would work. I can agree with you about Gruden, but I do got to say, to take over the Raiders, if he hadn't got exposed in 21, and if Henry Ruggs hadn't gotten stupid, 2 weeks later, that might have been our year. I hate that, Joe, because I kind of agree with you. It did feel like we were starting to get something. Most of you remember that throw to Henry Ruggs from Derek Carr against the Jets in what was a tight game in New York City. It shouldn't have been that close. The Jets were terrible that year, but they were playing us tough. They were trying to get their first win of the year, if I remember correctly, and we just said no, and Derek Carr threw a perfect rainbow that just fell right into Ruggs' gut. He made a little two-step, and he was in the end zone, and we got him, and I just felt like maybe that shook something loose, because he really was starting to hit Henry Ruggs a lot that particular season. So there's just no way to know, because sometimes if you get an offensive connection like that, it can carry an average defense because you keep scoring. So now because you get leads, you limit what your opponent can do, i.e. they have to run the ball less because it eats up so much clock. They got to throw the ball more, which makes their offense one-dimensional against your defense, that now if you've made their offense one-dimensional, the defense is more aggressive and it's automatically better because they're not facing the run. So they can pin their ears back, go for the quarterback, and play the ball in the air. That's what we were going for, and we almost had it. I agree. We did almost have it. To think that Shady One will be owner our reputation as Raider fans. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, it's upsetting. I think a lot of Raider Nation's just going to have a stroke. I'll be first. In my job, I deal with conspiracies, so this might sound off the wall, but do you think of the chance that Brady's whole goal is to sabotage the Raiders because of all the bad blood? Okay, Tim, the only reason, and I mean the only reason, that I never have bought into that is because Charlie Wood, our legend, Charles Woodson says, and I quote, that's not who he is. Charles Woodson's trying to vouch for him because at first he was the first one to tell us that he got Tom to admit, about the tuck, and it was a tuck and it should have been our ball and all that other stuff. He was the first to kind of get Tom to come out and admit that. And then Tom admitted that it was because of their friendship back when they were teammates with the Michigan Wolverines. Now, I know all of you, most of you know that. Some of you don't. But if you don't remember that, our famous, legendary Hall of Fame Charles Woodson came out of the Michigan Wolverines with Tom Brady. So obviously they went to different pro teams and things went the way they did, but they go way back. You know what I mean? And so I could see where Charlie Woodson, if he asked us as Raider Nation to give him a chance as a minority owner and now future eventual owner, if he said that, we should do it. But I can tell you to this point, as of whatever time it is right now, he's never said that. Charles Woodson has never said we should put our faith and trust in him. What he said is he's not here to destroy the Raiders. And I kind of believe that. I don't see how that makes sense, Tim. If you really think about it, it would be a stain on his overall reputation as a winning NFL guy. No, he's not the quarterback, but I mean, it's still going to be a part of his legacy. So he's going to want the Raiders to succeed. That's why I really think he's going to buy the team somehow from Mark Davis. With his dad gone and his mom gone now, Mark Davis has the hands on everything. So if Tom can just convince him, hey, go be a billionaire. Just go be rich now. Let me handle all these problems. I think he'll listen to Mark Davis, and I think he will finally sell the team. I really do. I would see that sooner than I would see Max Crosby leave the Raiders. As crazy as that sounds. I think Max Crosby will be with us longer than Mark Davis will. I think there's a chance of that. I mean, obviously, in the time since he got here. I think the next person that goes out the door first, he can never obviously be with the Raiders longer than Mark Davis has. But I meant that to say the first person to go next, probably Mark before Max. Okay, here's what needs to happen. We have 3 quarterbacks on the rookie contracts. Pickett, AOC, and Miller. We need to pick one and develop him, continue starting terrible Geno, and we suffer through watching him till our actual quarterback is ready. Yeah, because I don't think Pete Carroll will be back at the end of the year. I think everything's happening, at least this season, like Tom wanted. For Pete Carroll to fail improves Tom's chances of getting him out the door and going after some young hot coach that Tom himself is targeting. And I'm absolutely 1,000% sure that Tom already has a coach in mind. I'm absolutely certain of that. Kevin Kahu Hano Sup, bro. The only thing Jimmy G did good as a Niner was hand the ball off to a running back. Yeah, that's true. Jimmy G was good at the strip club only. I don't know. A few of those ladies in those X-rated films seemed to like him a lot too. And he wasn't playing football with them. No, Gil, go to bed. Just go on. I'm about to shut the curtain anyway. Get out. Ramiro, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Good job getting overthrowing up at the mention of TB12, he who should not be named. I'm sort of over it now, only because I've had to now prepare myself for the fact that I think he's going to own the club. Loco Sick, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. I'll post that. We got to own what we are. Jeff Foster Jr., let's be fair. Josh McDaniels did not want Jimmy G. He wanted Carr initially till he chose not to buy into his offense. Then Brady, he retired. His third option was Jarrett Stidham. He then left to be with his buddy, who's also the Broncos quarterback coach. He was forced to get Jimmy. Yeah. And so, see, there's just been so much of that kind of half control by Mark Davis, poor decisions, GMs trying to finagle things, and then you got a minority owner sticking his thumb into things. And until they get some sort of unity in that, we're not going to see winning football. And that's sad, because I really felt like Pete could come in with that 2-year run, but now with the fact that everything was riding on him winning, or at least improving the team, we had to at least show a 7, maybe 9 win team. Now, some of us felt like we could get to double digits because what we saw, the transition, how the players like Pete, but it's turning out now a lot of that just died. I mean, the honeymoon just died really fast, because as soon as Pete Carroll's son started moving pieces on the line, a lot of guys in the locker room got pissed off. And I know Max is mad. I'm not going to deny that. I think Max is mad, but I don't think any of this stuff about him leaving the team has any truth to it whatsoever. Trade Caillou, Blue Kelly, Kuntz, Wilson. They're not helping this team. I agree with all of them but Caillou, Blue Kelly. We have to remember he's a kid. Give him time. He's shown promise. He's gotten burned, but he's also shown promise. Give him time. You don't mess with the center position too much. Communication, verbal and nonverbal, comes from the center. Jeff Foster and everyone else watching, JPJ has factually struggled with reading the protections and calling out the mic. Now, it's not just that he doesn't understand it. It's that he struggles with it and he's slow, so he has a hard time getting the calls out. If you remember, looking back, it was week 2 or 3 that Pete Carroll said, and I quote, "Things are going too slowly. We need to speed things up," and they couldn't with JPJ at center. So for those of you who don't know why that's been happening, that's why. Now, I think Brennan Carroll has been moving him all over the line because they're just trying to find the best place to put him because he's such a high talent, but you can't put him at center if he doesn't know how to drive. You can't ask him to drive the car. You know what I mean? And the fans want him to drive the car, but he doesn't know how to call out the protections fast enough to get to where we get our offense cracking. I feel like we have to make some change somewhere. Hopefully Chip Kelly will start calling plays that make sense for this current roster. I disagree with that completely, Rodney. If you really want to shake up this roster, you fire Chip Kelly right now. We just scored 0 points. And against the Colts, I think, what did we have, 10? I think it was in garbage time or something like that. To me, the biggest disappointment has been the offense, period. I fire Chip Kelly during the break. I haven't heard it happen yet, so it's probably not going to happen, because if it was going to happen, if that was really your plan, you probably would have done that just day one going into the break. Make your own Black Monday, fire him, and then bring up the assistant, and then work with the assistant and get the team on the right page. Bring the offense down a little bit. Make sure everyone knows what we're running, because I think a lot of that is why we're getting so many guys hurt on the roster. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, everyone's getting hurt because they're making mistakes, making cuts, running right when they should have went left, blocking left when they should have went right, and stuff like that. And they try to make up for it, and their body's out of position, and you get hurt. Anyone that's an athlete that listened to that description of what I just said, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? If you try to block a guy right and he spin moves and he comes back to your weak side left shoulder, now you're out of balance. So now you're reaching and trying to go with your arms instead of with your legs and your hips, and you get hurt. And I'm seeing a lot of that. Brady and Davis are using the Raiders to build their WNBA dynasty, right? Some of the players could probably help us. Granted, teams change from year to year, but what I remember from 2021 was we set an NFL record by starting off the season with 3 wins against teams that had 10 wins or better the year before. Yeah. When Davis leaves, sells team, do we finally become a winner again? Bob, I think we would, because whoever comes in after him, even if it's Tom, is going to come in with an understanding that the NFL is always growing and changing. You have to always be elevating your offense. You can't just come from college and start using schemes and plays that are remedial because you're trying to get a new team up to speed. So you give them this little tiny, menu of plays, and the defense is laughing because they're recognizing everything from video study. Can't do that. You can't do that. Even if the team messes up some of the plays, you got to go deep into the playbook and mix up the setups, use motion, fake some things, play action. You got to do that. You can't just decide 10 of those plays work, so let's mix those 10 up each week. No, they'll start seeing it on video. They'll call out the plays on defense, and then Geno's got nowhere to go but to throw an interception, take a sack, or throw it out of bounds. I want Sam Levitt. I want us to get Sam so bad. I can understand that. Decent arm. No, Pete needs to stay and develop his players. I'm so damn sick of teams giving up on coaches. Well, Jeff, we only gave him a 2-year deal, and he's old. And so if he's going to not win this year, and it's looking that way, okay, if we're going to have a conversation about this, we just have to be honest. This season is looking like he's lost it. Okay, so if that's the case, what's he going to do next season? Make a draft, bring in a few guys. I mean, unless he has like a miracle draft and free agency, he's not going to just suddenly turn the team around next season. You know what I mean? It's possible, but not if the same problems are there, and they seem to be. We don't even know if his Nepo baby son is really a good coach. We're dealing with that. We don't really know if his Nepo son quarterback. What do you mean it's different because one of them's black and the other one's white? You don't see the resemblance? When they were with the Seahawks, he looked at him like a son. He said it, because they had 3 seasons together, and Pete was there when Pete's job was on the line, and he was getting ready to get fired, and he brought in Locke from the Broncos, and I forget where he brought in Geno from, but it might have been the Broncos too. I'm not sure. But then they played for the starting job. Geno won it by a whisker. And then he went out there and won 2 seasons out of 3 for Pete. And the 1 season out of the 3 that Geno didn't play well was the last season when everyone was getting fired, including Pete Carroll. And so the team was in flux. You know what I mean? They knew they were going to lose their company that they work for, the business that they work at. Their NFL team was changing. And that usually means guys are going to start moving. Guys are going to start getting traded. And so Geno didn't have a good year. Max is here to stay, but Tyree Wilson need to go, though. Monstro Chiva, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. If you enjoyed the show, please like and subscribe to R8RBEAR Live on YouTube. We'd really appreciate it. Now, yeah, Tyree Wilson needs to go, but Kuntz even more so. I want Malcolm Kuntz out. What is the benefit of bringing in Carroll for 1 year with his reputation if him and Brady don't care for each other? Well, that's just the thing, Matt Morris. They weren't trying to bring in Pete Carroll at first. Remember, they went through a pretty comprehensive head coaching search, and they just couldn't find a fit. And then when it got down to the wire, when you had to make a decision, Pete Carroll was sitting out there, experienced guy. So they went with him. With his resume, he did have a collapse where he had a bad season as an NFL coach when he was with the Jets. But when he left the Jets, he went to USC, built up a legendary program at USC, won there for a decade, then came back to the pros, started winning again, then wins a Super Bowl with Seattle, and then came to us. And now it looks like maybe we just got him too late. Let's be honest, this dysfunctional organization has been rebuilding since 83. How long does it take that effing stuff? Another 45 years? No, loco, but you have to get rid of what the main problem is. And the main problem is Mark Davis and his relationship with Tom Brady. Mark Davis just needs to sell. I can't believe I'm saying that, to Tom Brady. Just get it over with. He made this snowball start going downhill. Now you need to just deal with it. It's gotten too big. It's going to come down and blow up the city if you don't just sell to Tom and leave. And then let Tom start to build it in his image. And at least at the very minimum, we know Tom knows football. I don't know if I believe that Mark Davis knows football. I just don't. I'm not certain Mark Davis really knows football. All right, guys, that's my show. Much love. Shout out to our armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Space Force, for all you do. The energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice active and veteran. Much love, Steven and Mrs. Shaw. Appreciate the love, guys. All right, that's my show. Much love. Please remember to like and subscribe if you would on YouTube, and if you would, look me up on Patreon. It's a couple bucks. Support the show. Gets me new microphones and lights and stuff. Makes for a better entertainer like your boy, R8RBEAR. All right, much love. I'll see you soon. R8RBEAR family page. Peace.